Hey, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and today I'm working through a few practice test questions from our extra practice tests that we provide on our website and on Amazon. Today, we're going to work through the 5002. I'm just going to show you a few tricks to think about when you're working through those reading and language arts questions that can be really tough because they are full of scenarios. Let's get started. All right, so the questions today are coming from our additional practice test that we provide on our website. I'll show you at the end where to get all of our resources, but let's hop into my presentation so we can start working through some of those 5002 reading and language arts questions that you will encounter on the exam. All right, so we have some questions that look like this on the exam, and you can see that they are full of scenarios, and even the answer choices have a lot of situations going on in them. Let's just have a look at the answer choices first. I always like to work backwards, presenting students with compound words and corresponding images representing each component, then combining them to form the complete word. Okay, looks like that's hands-on activity. We're taking compound words, putting them together, engaging students in substituting one phoneme with another in a given word. That's called substitution, phoneme substitution, high up on that hierarchy. C, using manipulatives. I like the word manipulative, such as counters to represent individual phonemes in words, and then physically merging them together. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second. And D, teaching students to identify and distinguish the onset and rhyme within words. Okay, so we have a couple of things going on here. None of these look bad, like to get rid of. And I have to read the question to know what I need to zero in on, but it just helps to sort of look at the answer choices quickly and determine if we can eliminate anything or zero in on anything. In this case, we can't. Let's go ahead and read the question stem here. Instructing students on blending is a priority for a reading teacher. Which instructional method would be most effective? Most effective. They might all be effective, but which one is the most effective? And it's blending here. Now, blending typically has to do with taking two individual phonemes and blending them together. For example, in the word stop, the S and the T, st, together is a blend. Or in the word blend, the B and the L sound, bull, together is a blend. All right, so let's have a look here. Presenting students with compound words and putting them together, that's actually structural. It's not in the blend of a specific phoneme. A is out. B, engaging students with substituting one phoneme for another. Not substituting. Substituting would be something like this. Say the word bat, and students say bat, and I say substitute the B sound with a K sound. And they would say cat. That's substitution, a very important activity, but not the answer to this question. And C, using manipulatives such as counters to represent individual phonemes and words and then physically merging them together. Okay, let's see what that looks like. So let's say that I have two counters here. They come in all shapes and sizes, and I'm doing a very simple one. There can be more than two here. There could be 3 or 4 counters with different phonemes on them, but let's just pretend that we have the B and the ul sound, and we want students to sort of use their fingers to sort of smush them together, doing a hands-on activity, which helps to visualize what's going on in order to make the bowl sound together. So we have two separate sounds and pushing them together. This is definitely blending. It's also a good practice because they're using their hands, taking the abstract and bringing it into the concrete so they can understand it. So it looks like C is the best answer. Let's go ahead and discredit D, teaching students to identify and distinguish the onset and rhyme within words. Let's talk about onset and rhyme. All right, let's take the word blend and talk about the onset and rhyme. Well, the onset is the initial consonant sound or consonant cluster in the word. So bull would be the onset. So I'm just going to do this as onset. And the rhyme, and that's R-I-M-E, is the vowel sound and the closing consonant sound or sounds at the end. So in this case, end would be the rhyme. Bull would be the onset. End would be the rhyme. This is also a phonological awareness activity because we are talking about sounds and words, but we are breaking them up by bigger chunks in terms of the blend here, the bull, and the end, onset and rhyme. Whenever you see onset and rhyme, it's a phonological awareness activity. If I were to break this up by individual sounds, b, o, e, n, d, That would be phonemic awareness. But when we break up by onset and rhyme, that's phonological awareness. Just a little extra there for your test. You will be asked those questions. But in this case, we're not blending here. We're actually breaking up the word. When you break it up by onset and rhyme, you're not blending a b and a l, bowl. You're actually segmenting this word in two. So this is not your answer, but I just wanted to explain it for you. So D would be out, making C the best answer. So be sure you understand all these foundational skills, super important. And I cover it all in my books and in my online courses. Let's go to another one here. So I want to always look at the answer choices first. I have syntactic, semantic, graphophonic, and phonological. Phonological is sticking out a little bit as a bad answer choice here. It may not be, depending on the question, but these are all cueing systems: syntactic, semantic, and graphophonic. Those are all cueing systems. I know that from my studies. And phonological should be phonological awareness. It's sort of sticking out. I don't know. It doesn't look like it fits here. I'm just going to put a little X on it. Let's have a look at the question stem. Which cueing system is the teacher working on? Right away, I can cross off phonological because it is not a cueing system. So now we're just between A, B, and C. And notice working backwards helps us eliminate this very quickly as we're working. Let's start with the question. A teacher is helping students use cues to figure out difficult words. When students get to a word they do not know, the teacher asks, does that make sense? Does that make sense? Whenever you see that question, that is a semantic cueing system. I always like to substitute the M in semantic for meaning. So what might happen when you say, does that make sense, is that you are asking the student, does the meaning of that word make sense here? When you are pronouncing it, does that make sense? All right, so let's say you're reading with a student. The student is reading aloud, and here's the sentence. And again, this is a very simple sentence. It's going to be a little bit more complicated, but I just want to, bring it down so you understand what I'm talking about. And the student says, he was, and instead of saying jogging, maybe the student says giggling or another word for exercise, right? And obviously jogging goes with exercise here, right? But let's just say the student substituted in a weird word like giggling or stopping or something like that. And you say to the student, does that make sense? Look at the words around it. For exercise, does giggling go with exercise? Maybe, but what else goes with exercise a little bit better? Let's sound out this word. That is semantics, because you're using the other words around it to get to the meaning or the logical word in the sentence. So anytime when the teacher says, does that make sense? That is going to be a semantic cue. Now, a syntactic clue has to do with syntax or grammar. And let's just say it said he was jogged. Maybe the student said jogged instead of jogging. He was jogged for exercise. That would be the wrong verb tense in there. He was jogging is the proper syntax. So if the student substituted the wrong ED, the wrong grammar situation, that would be syntactic, syntax. And let's say that the student stops at this word in the middle of a paragraph and the student tries to sound it out and is having a difficult time. And you may ask the student to sort of look at the word, look at the codes within the word, maybe break it up by 2 syllables here. Jogging, right? You might have the student sound it out, jogging, jogging. That's graphophonic. That's where you use phonics to figure out the word that you're having trouble pronouncing. And that's not what's going on here. Right now, we're talking about semantics. Does it make sense? But at least now you know the difference between syntactic, semantic, and graphophonic cueing systems. And remember, phonological is not a cueing system. All right, let me show you where to get more resources if you are looking for study materials for the 5001. We have tons of really good resources for this test. All right, just hop over to KathleenJasper.com. You can see that we have the study guide under elementary education, Praxis 5001. Now, when you buy from us, it is a digital copy. We do have those extra practice tests I was talking to you about. But you can also grab the physical copy on Amazon. Simply click this, available at Amazon, and it'll take you to our amazing 5001 book. You can see we have over 1,000 5-star reviews. We're very proud of this book. I suggest buying new while you can save a few bucks. There might be writing in it, and we don't want that. So if you want a physical book, you have to buy it on Amazon. But if you like a physical copy to put on your iPad and things like that, or you want to download it on your computer, you can certainly do that on our website. You just grab the digital download, add to cart, and you can access this. Now, beyond that, we have the online course, which is super helpful. This covers everything, the 5002, 5003, 04, and 05. And you can even just grab them individually. Let's say that you've passed everything except the math. You can just grab the math. All right, so this is our online course. You can see this is for the Praxis 5002. We have tons of videos. We have quizzes that you do here. And then I have explanation videos for all the quizzes, tons and tons of content. It also comes with the study guide. So you can download the study guide right from the course. We have them for all 4 sections, 5002, 03, 04, and 05. And you can see that we have the digital study guide for download. We have videos for all of the different skills. And for the math, we even have videos for each practice test. So you can look at every single question. I go through them on the practice test for this book here. So not only do we have the full book, but we also have all of the videos to help you through it. And we do that for all sections. All right, so that's it for today. This is a huge exam. If you're overwhelmed by it, it's all good. Don't worry. Take it one step at a time. And I have tons of resources for you, both free and paid. I have free webinars for this. Go to KathleenJasper.com under free webinars. You're also on my YouTube channel here, so I have tons of resources for it there. And of course, if you'd like to pick up the study guide, you can do so on our website or on Amazon.com. Thank you so much for watching today, and have a great day.